I'm Katherine Rey with the Dragon Corporation. You may have seen my previous presentation on permit to take water from 2020. I've updated some of the slides and information for this presentation. If you would like to reach out, here's my contact information. This presentation is targeted towards people working in industrial, agriculture, construction, and recreational industries that may require significant volumes of water to operate. This presentation will cover how to know if you need a permit to take water, exceptions, the types of permits, the fee for a permit to take water, expiry and reporting requirements, when you can use the Environmental Activity and Sector Registry, or EASER, instead of a permit to take water, and lastly, how to use conservation practices to avoid needing a permit to take water. A permit to take water is required when taking more than 50,000 liters of water per day from the environment for a long-term operation. Examples include water bottling facilities, food processing, cooling towers, and golf courses. Exceptions include emergency use such as firefighting, farm use like livestock watering. However, irrigation of crops for sale still require a permit to take water, domestic use, and certain grandfathered operations. There are three types of permits. Category 1 is the least stringent, and Category 3 is the most stringent. A Category 1 permit is for water takings that are unlikely to pose adverse environmental impacts and no scientific study is required. They are used to renew an existing permit where the amount, purpose, location, and source are the same. Various conditions are met for taking from either groundwater fed or surface water fed ponds, and you cannot take more than 1 million liters of water per day from the Great Lakes. Category 2 permit to take water is used when it is a short-term, non-recurring water taking and requires a QP or qualified person to conduct a technical review. Requirements for a Category 2 permit to take water where the source is groundwater requires less than 7 days of water taking or less than 30 consecutive days and less than 400,000 liters a day. Requirements for a Category 2 permit to take water where the source is surface water include taking less than 19 million liters of water per day from the Great Lakes or connecting channels, taking from a source where a previous assessment has been completed, taking from one source for a short time and returning it to a nearby point with no significant changes to water quality or quantity, taking less than 1 million liters a day, twice a week, from water bodies greater than 10 hectares, taking less than 5% from rivers and streams with a 7-day flow with a 20-year return period. Category 3 permit, like I said, is the most stringent. In order to obtain this type of permit, a technical assessment by a qualified person and a pre-submission consultation with the MECP are required. A Category 3 permit is required when the water taking doesn't meet a Category 1 or 2 criteria when taking from groundwater or surface water. And for surface water takings, it is a new taking from a first or second order watercourse, wetland, pond, or groundwater source that potentially affects surface water. The fee paid to the MECP when submitting your permit to take water application is $750 for Category 1 or Category 2 permit to take water and $3,000 for a Category 3 permit to take water. Your permit will list the expiry date. It is important to renew your permit before it expires to ensure continued legal water taking. If you let it expire, you could have delays in getting a new permit and increased costs. Once you have a permit to take water, you need to record and submit your annual water taking volumes online by March 31st. In some cases, the Environmental Activity and Sector Registry, EASER, is more appropriate than a permit to take water. An EASER is used for short-term applications and is applicable for the following three purposes: construction site dewatering, highway and transit projects, and pumping tests that are 7 days or less in a 30-day period. Regarding construction site dewatering, an EASER can be used if you're taking more than 50,000 liters of groundwater and or stormwater on at least one day, or taking less than 400,000 liters per day of groundwater. Stormwater includes rainwater runoff, snowmelt, surface runoff, and roof runoff. Considerations for easers for construction projects include the construction site includes the entire construction project. You do not need to register if your water taking is 100% stormwater. A QP must prepare a water taking report. And an easer for construction dewatering is not applicable to mines, pits, or quarries. Regarding the easer for highway and transit projects, each highway project requires its own easer. An easer is required if taking more than 50,000 liters of water on at least one day. There are water use and water body restrictions. A QP must prepare a water body report. And if water taking exceeds 1 year, then you need to provide written notice to the municipality and conservation authority. You also may need to meet Environmental Assessment Act requirements. Regarding an easer for pumping tests, a pumping test is used to obtain information about the aquifer from which the well takes its water. It needs to be conducted at a well and cannot take water for more than 7 days within a 30-day period. It also can't take more than 5 million liters of groundwater on any given day. An easer for pumping tests is required if taking more than 50,000 liters on at least one day during the pumping test. In order to get an easer for a pumping test, the site cannot be a mine site or where mine exploration is occurring. It cannot involve the transferring of water out of the Great Lakes, St. Lawrence River Basin, the Nelson River Basin, or the Hudson Bay Basin, and cannot transfer water from one Great Lake watershed to another. Depending on your situation, there are conservation practices that you can take to avoid obtaining a permit. You can use a lined pond or tank, or you can schedule water takings over multiple days to avoid exceeding 50,000 liters. In summary, a permit to take water is required if taking more than 50,000 liters of water per day from the environment, with some exceptions. There are 3 types of permits. Category 1 is the least stringent, and Category 3 is the most stringent. Categories 2 and 3 require a QP to conduct an assessment. Make sure you renew your permit before it expires and submit your annual volumes online. Use an easer instead of a permit to take water for construction dewatering, road construction, and pumping tests. Avoid requiring a permit to take water by modifying your behavior to stay within daily limits. Thank you. My contact information is listed if you have any questions or require assistance with obtaining a permit.